Welcome to the White Knuckling It podcast with Justin Burke.
No, we got out of the life with the pre-roll.
And Mitchell O'Brien.
It was in his butt.
They share their experiences from white knuckling sobriety to becoming successful and living life in recovery.
Yeah, boy.
Welcome back to the White Knuckling It podcast. Ready for round two? It's like a Street Fighter game around here. Round two.
You're Justin Burke.
Yeah, I'm Justin Burke.
I'm Mitchell O'Brien. And this is round two of our podcast today.
Yeah.
And the ghost just smacked my microphone.
I heard that.
I was like, what the?
You know what's funny with the equipment that we use? I mean, I know a little bit about my board that we podcast with. It's a Rodecaster
Pro 2.
Yeah, Rodecaster Pro 2. And there's back channeling in this board. So round one, we were muted, but because we were both muted, the back channeling was happening, and we could still hear each other, but it wasn't being recorded.
So we forgot to unmute.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was a great time.
There's a whole story about segways and snowboarding.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that. So
I have a different answer to your question, though.
Oh, do you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, so we're talking about our kids and waking up early now because school's back in session.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, I wake her up about 5:15. So that way she's got a little over an hour to get ready, shower, practice good hygiene in the morning. So that way she's good when she goes to school. She ain't getting made fun of. Things that I didn't realize were important when I went to school that I realize now, and so I'm trying to prevent certain things with her. And it gives her time to do her makeup and whatever in the morning, and she don't feel rushed, and she seems to be liking it. At first, she was real hesitant, fought me with it a little bit, and I'm like, why are you fighting so hard? Like, this is good practice. Like, you're going to take this with you through the rest of your life.
It's where discipline starts, kind of.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson talks about it, too, where if you want to get your life in order, clean your room.
Yep.
That's how he says, start with your room. If you can organize your room and take a shower and put on some deodorant, then you can start to organize the chaos that's in your head, because that's what a lot of people suffer from, is stuff going on in their head.
Yep.
So,
but anyways, my question was, have you ever had your ass kicked by an object that you were in control of, but you felt out of control?
Yep.
Okay.
Rodecaster Pro 2.
That is one of them.
We are in complete control of that.
Yeah.
And we just got our ass kicked for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Probably about 15. Because of back channeling. And you can still hear yourself during back channeling, even though you're muted.
That's so weird.
It is weird.
And I looked up how to turn it off, and it didn't work.
I know.
So we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
For next episode. But no, my original answer was segways. I used to work a night security job, and we had cars that we could drive around at night. We had golf carts we can drive around at night. Then we had these off-road segways, and I was a bigger guy back then than I am now.
Okay.
So a little top heavy, and just could never get it. So I'd have the thing, and I'd have the handlebars. And you're supposed to, hop up on it, and it was in perfect control until I'd put my foot on it. Then you have to balance. I just never had the balance fast enough. So I was doing splits. I was doing falling on my ass. I had control of it until I tried to use it all the way, and then I couldn't. And so that was my answer to your question the first time. Okay. So now it's this board that we're recording to.
So mine's still going to be the same. I've had multiple experiences in this, but the worst one was just this past Monday.
Yes.
Like you said, I am quite big. Probably just under 300, roughly, I would say.
I'd be a sexy bitch if I was under 300.
But anyways, I'm about just under 300 pounds. I went kayaking. And I typically go like once a year, but normally down like the Platte, the good parts of the Boardman River, like before all the shit flows down to the bay.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You know,
Southern part.
Yeah, in the Boardman's still a fast river, but it's typically a pretty clean river.
Yeah.
The parts that I've been down before is pretty clean.
Not a lot of trees and rocks. And
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
I've gone down the Pure Marquette, the Muskegon. Never did the Manistee or the Little Manistee. But the river I'm just going to tell you about is the Pine River.
And then I related to that because I rafted it with summer camp when I was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
And it was much different back then.
Yep.
It was a lot calmer. It was a lot cleaner.
Well, you probably hit low water before a big rain.
I really don't know. It was a 3-day trip. Like we rafted. I mean, rafts are slower, right?
Well, yeah, it's bigger. In a kayak, you actually feel every little thing.
Yeah.
To like, there's a lot of big rocks in the Pine.
And you just kind of.
Now, over the past few years, I'm going to say probably about 5 years, Lake County has had some really bad storms.
And you were talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
You know, you were looking up, I don't know if it was Facebook memories or something.
Yep.
And you mentioned that. And it seems like Lake County, Midland area.
Yeah, like straight through the center of the state has had really bad storms like over the past 5 years. I think Lake County's had a tornado every other year, it seems like. And dude, I grew up there. We never had a tornado the whole time I grew up.
We've had, because I've lived in, you know, the west side of Traverse City pretty much my whole life. And there's been 2 tornadoes in Traverse City that I've, well, it was the outside area. Like it's never been in the city.
Right.
But in the outside area that you can consider Traverse City.
Yeah.
In my known 37 years of being here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. That's a lot
Right.
for down in Lake County.
Yeah, it is. And then, you know, they've had a bunch of storms recently with like straight line winds and stuff, is what they call them when everything's just blown in one direction. It's called straight line winds.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that term, but it makes sense.
Yeah. It's kind of like a tornado, but it's like downforce of wind coming down, hitting the ground and going one direction.
And it's kind of like you see a bunch of trees that are all blown over in the same direction.
Yep.
That's kind of that thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's straight line winds.
Yeah, that's what I kind of saw when you said it.
But yeah, so I went kayaking. I tipped my kayak about 5 times. As soon as I got in the river, I slipped getting into it, bashed my elbow on a rock.
Ugh.
It caused that.
Oh.
I got a big old scrape on my elbow. There's blood everywhere, just profusely pouring out.
And you've got to be careful with blood because it attracts the sharks.
There ain't no sharks in the
Oh.
rivers. But yes, I mean, if you were in the ocean, yeah, I would probably be not doing nothing.
I've been
that
hearing
day.
about bull sharks in Lake Michigan.
You know, I've been hearing about that too in a lot of
So-
different areas.
Who knows?
Who does know, man? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I seen a Joe Rogan podcast. I think it was with Elon Musk, and they were talking about bull sharks all the way up through the Mississippi.
Those are
It was on a
interesting.
Facebook reel because bull sharks can live in fresh water. Scientists tries to tell you that they can only live in brackish water,
Yeah.
which is like the mixture where fresh water and salt water meet, and they can go up to about, I don't know, probably like about 50 miles upstream, but they never make it that far.
I know, and I think this has been changed to further, but I thought it was like there's been a confirmed bull shark like 1,000 to 1,100 miles up the Mississippi.
Yeah, but scientists remember growing up, they're like, oh no, they'll never make it past 50 miles. They can't adapt without the brackish water and
Yeah,
this and that. And
much nonsense.
It's nonsense. We're lied to a lot, but that's for a different time, totally different podcast. There's podcasts out there that do talk about that type of stuff, and we're gonna keep it not that way on this one.
Yeah.
Try to as much as possible. But no. So my theory is how I'm gonna rope my kayaking trip into my recovery.
Yeah.
Is even in the earlier days of my recovery, you know, I would fall I would take a lot of bumps and bruises. I'd quit for a while, go back at it, and my kayaking trip kind of reminded me of my first times ever trying to get sober, I'd do really good for a while, then I would fall, like flipping over a kayak and hitting a big rock with your knee or your elbow or your side, whatever, it hurts. It hurts down inside. It hurts your pride a little bit, hurts your ego because, you just can't hang with it. But, I never gave up during my kayaking trip. And for me, that was a very good thing. Because as soon as I bashed my elbow, I wanted to hop out of the river and say, F this. My car's right there. Deuces. But, in the grand scheme of things, what's that really going to fix? Because the other vehicle was already at the exit point.
Yeah.
With the trailer and everything that the kayaks were loaded on.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had I'm trying to think of a word. It was a commitment.
Yeah.
Like I committed to doing this, so I'm just going to do it. And we're taught that in recovery is don't commit to something that you're not for sure that you can fully do. And I committed to this. And I was going to try getting out of going kayaking until my cousin asked my daughter, hey, you want to go kayaking today? Because I tried taking the responsible route. I'm like, I got laundry to do. I got this to do. There's things that I need to do. And I don't get to see my cousins that often, my cousin and his wife. And we're kind of close. And I just don't get to see them that often. So it was nice to actually go do something with them and a couple of their friends that I know from when they got married and stuff. And it was a great time. We had a small little cookout on the river and stuff. We floated, but man, was I sore. Today, I finally feel a little bit better.
Your energy level yesterday was down.
Dude, I hurt so bad yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I wanted to pull out an excuse out of my pocket to why I haven't done shit around my house yet. Because, like, my yard, it's in, like, the back of the house where my entrance is at for my apartment.
Yeah.
So I, like, walk around the house and my door's on the back side. And it actually looks over a field and there was just a bunch of shit everywhere. And tall grass, everything, and I'm just like, you know what? Even though I feel like shit, this is really going to help me. I'm not going to make an excuse why I can't get something done. Even if I only work on it for an hour, that's more than what was done originally.
Yeah, that's progress.
Right. And it's progress, is what we strive for. And so I started doing that. I trimmed back the maple tree a little bit. So where the path walks down the stairs, there's this huge maple. And at first I really liked it. And then until recently, I'm like, I'm tired of walking around tree branches and getting hit in the face with leaves. So I did a little trimming with some hedge trimmers. And I did that. I got a nice spot of grass kind of halfway cut because it's ready to like take a mower through there now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like halfway done.
Yeah.
The grass was so thick, I actually used a hedge trimmer to cut the grass because it was like 3-4 feet tall.
Jeez.
And nothing's been done with it, and I don't want to take the mower through there.
Yeah.
So my buddy led me some hedge trimmers, and I did around the burning barrel I got that you no longer have, thanks to your wonderful mystery person. 'Cause I'm not going to bust them out.
Jerry. Took my burn barrel. Give it back, Jerry.
But anyways, so I was able to burn up like a bunch of cardboard boxes that were just sitting out my back door. People that lived there before, I think, never grew up in the right mindset of how to actually keep things. There's just a lot of trash, bullshit outside. So I went through and found like all the paper stuff. No plastic, nothing like that, just paper. Maybe a few wood items, safe stuff that's safe to burn. And I threw it in the burning barrel last night and started having a little fire.
Nice.
And it got down quite a bit. of the stuff that was out there because there's a lot of boxes, and I was able to take some stuff out of the boxes and put in bags to take to like the dump or something. But it was just nice actually being able to start making progress on something.
You know, it is. And you've had this outdoorsy glow about you where I can tell you've been working outside and burning old energy to bring in the new and going down the river.
Yeah.
And it's very good.
Because I actually got a really nice view, like out my back area. You know, there's the house that's up on a hill. It probably goes down about 5-6 feet, I would say, into this beautiful field. There's an apple tree. My daughter's seeing a nice 8-point. I've ran into a nice 6-point grunting at me in the morning, leaving to go to work. I really hope they stay around. I'd need to get me a crossbow because that's what the DNR says I'm legal to hunt with. I can't even own a black powder gun, according to state law.
We can't have a...
Federal law says I can have a black powder gun, but state law says no.
You can't have a compound bow?
I can, but why have a compound bow? A crossbow shoots twice as far.
Gotcha. I wonder if I still have that one. I'd give it to you.
I had a really nice one, and I was kind of leery because I don't remember how I got it. It was back in my using days.
I think you talked about that on the podcast. You did the right thing.
Yeah, you know, and a buddy of mine, he wanted one. It was his birthday. I'm like, here, man, you can have this. Because I don't remember how I acquired this item, but I just got it back from the state police, and I don't want it right now.
Yeah.
I just don't. And it was a really nice crossbow. It was a Baronet Quad 400. It was like 8 years ago, it was like one of the fastest bows on the market.
Nice.
But I just didn't want it anymore.
Well, that'll be cool. The thing I like about you talking about recovery in the river is, and your experience in the river, is it's a really good analogy. So it's like life, or you can say recovery or life in general, is the river. It's going to take, if you get into it, it's going to take you down river one way or another.
Yep.
That's how our life is. It's constantly moving along. You're going to get pushed down the river of life.
As soon as you're born out with water splashing all around you.
So then you get in the kayak and you're trying to go down there. And you have the tools you need to guide yourself more comfortably down this river.
Yep.
But if you're out of practice, or if you don't know how, or you're brand new to it, you're going to screw it up. You're going to tip it over. You're going to hit a rock. You're going to get stuck on a tree. And the more you do it, the better you get. And then if you don't do it, you can get out of the kayak and just stand there, but then you're going to get stuck at that point in your life.
Yep.
And everything else is going to move on without you.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought this to the table today because it is such a good analogy for not just recovery, but life in general, but recovery for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really good. Like, get in a kayak, you know. Some of us eventually become lucky enough to have a 2-person kayak, you know. You know, it gets a little bit easier that way.
Well, I don't know if it'd get easier. Because I don't know if I'd want another person in a kayak with me. I mean, they're still kind of tippy, just like a canoe.
That's an analogy of a marriage.
Oh,
yeah. The tippiness is part of it. Like, you got to work together to make it work.
That is true.
And you're in the river of life. It's moving on. You got to figure all that out all at the same time. You know.
True story.
So it's just it's a really good analogy, and I'm glad that you brought this to the people because it really works.
Yeah, it really does.
And then you had the self-awareness to see it too, which is a big deal. Like, self-awareness for me was a really big step in my recovery because before that I had no self-awareness. I was in victimhood all the time, and how could this happen to me? How would that happen to me? Whatever, all of that. Like, it was just everything was happening to me. And then it became a point where I was all of a sudden aware of how what I was doing was affecting everything. Yeah. And I think for you to see that, it was really beautiful.
Yeah, and then, you know, like I was talking to my mom, and she was complaining about how I took my daughter down there because it's more of an experienced river versus a beginner river to do that. I'm like, well, you know what? If you don't go, you don't learn.
Yeah.
Like that's just the God's honest truth, Mom. Well, was she wearing a helmet? I'm like, who wears helmets? We grew up riding mountain bikes, jumping them in the front yard with no helmet. Like, are you serious?
So I have a cap on my left front tooth.
Like, you know, like I'm surprised me and my brother never had broken bones really growing up.
That's an amazing too. Like I have one brother who broke a bone growing up. Like I don't even know.
You know, we weren't made to wear a helmet unless it had a motor on it, because eventually we got dirt bikes and snowmobiles.
Even then,
those things, we were made to wear helmets where we weren't allowed to ride. But I don't view a kayak any different than a bike. If you don't know how to ride a bike, and you're gonna fall and hurt yourself. But how else do you learn without learning that hard lesson?
it's true. And I don't know if I've talked about this in the podcast, but that was the gripe that I had when last Thanksgiving when my son got into the ATV accident. He was with my mom in the burn barrel stealer, and they let this boy who this is my fault, but doesn't have a ton of experience on motorized vehicles.
How's that your fault? You never had the opportunity to own any.
Yeah, but still, like I feel like I could have done better. If it's a shame. I got to get over that myself. But you know, his first time on an ATV, and they said, "This is the gas, here's the brake, that's the field, and just go, you know, have fun."
They didn't give him a helmet?
No.
What is wrong with your mom?
I told you, and I had to talk to them. I was like, I picked him up from the emergency room, and he had a slight concussion and some scrapes and, you know, bruises, and that. So he was very lucky.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I think he was still picking beans out of his hair when he came here like a week later, because I seen the scrape on his face. Right.
Oh man, I'm still fighting with the insurance to pay that. But anyway,
Our insurance?
yeah, they didn't want to.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, he didn't wear a helmet, and it would have been a lot better if he would have worn a helmet. But he did learn something. That's where we were getting at. Is you're talking about, you know, if you didn't go through those hard knocks, you wouldn't have learned anything.
Right.
So it's the same analogy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be picking beans out of your hair a week later, but you'll learn something.
Yeah, and you know, and sometimes as parents, we know that we probably shouldn't do something, but our kids really want to do it, and we want to let them experience life. And so, like, we're going to go do it.
Well,
And, like, I knew I was probably going to get my ass handed to me on a river by a kayak, but I wanted my daughter to experience what it was like, you know? And so I was like, whatever, let's go. I know I'm fat and out of shape. I know you're a lot more fit than me, but let's go. I'll be sore for a few days.
I know what you were thinking. There's not 400 stairs involved, so I got this.
It was like 600.
Was it 600?
Yeah, it's like
The
600.
number
at
keeps
Taquama
going
Mountain.
up.
No, it's like it was like 590 something. So I just say 600.
I swear that it's different every time we talk.
No, it's about 600.
Either way, there wasn't a shitload of stairs involved.
No, there wasn't. It was just me sitting on my ass with a
so
paddle.
you're like, this is going to be
with
great.
with a dual paddle.
The river was like, got your ass.
Yeah, got your ass. It sure did. It had my ass for sure. And it handed it to me right back.
Oh, man. Well, no, this is a good analogy to bring to the podcast. I like it. So
You got anything recovery you want to talk about?
I think we covered that really well. I'm really glad you brought the analogy there. We talked about the whole rest thing. I don't know if we got that in the recording. That might have been in
we
the
didn't.
pre-record, the
It was.
not recording. But I got a little bit more sleep last night. I've been feeling like I'm trying to do a lot of things, and there's a lot of work involved. I'm trying to have a personal life, and then being a dad and school starting, and I've just been kind of putting sleep on the back burner. So the last couple of nights I've tried to prioritize that, and I'm feeling a little bit better. And I just think I struggle with this. I go back and forth from doing it well and not well. So I think, like the listeners to hear, like, you know, it is important. Balancing everything you need to do is important. And it changed the game for me to turn rest and sleep as a thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Not as a time where you're not doing anything.
All right.
Because that's how I saw it before. And once it became a thing I needed to do, like that's on your to-do list.
Yep.
Get the right amount of sleep. It'll change the game. It'll just make you a much healthier person in general.
Yep.
So I'm back on, being conscious of that.
With me and my daughter, though, because she's got to wake up so early in the morning, I'm like, 9 o'clock's bedtime.
Yeah.
Like, you get up at 5:15 in the morning. Let's look at hours here. From 9 to midnight, it's 3, right? She's like, yep. I was like, from midnight to 5 hours, right? Yep. I'm like, so that's 8 hours of sleep.
Yep.
I was like, you're probably really only gonna get about 7.5.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, it takes
Might
a
have
little bit of
get up
time
and
to fall
pee.
asleep.
Yeah.
And the good thing with her is, though, she has an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
So I could set downtime on her iPhone from my iPhone. Because I have a family plan that she's in and whatnot. I invited you to be in it. But she's a teenager, so I can have parental controls over her account. That's why I set up her account originally. Androids, I don't believe you can do that with them.
Mm-hmm. You can.
But I don't know how Apple, it's really easy,
Yeah.
To set up parental controls. So I have her phone shut off at 8:59. Doesn't come back on until 4:59 a.m.
There you go.
So for 8 hours, her phone is shut off. She can't text. She can text me or my mom, but that's it. In case of an emergency.
Yeah.
Who's to say I don't run to the store at 10 o'clock at night and something happens? She needs to call me. She has the ability to call me or my mom. That is it. It's the only 2 contacts that I approved for her to be able to call or text. Everything else, nope. The whole phone shuts off. It's like a paperweight at that rate.
Yeah.
And I told her, I'm like, you need to develop healthy sleeping patterns. And it's really helped me to develop one this week. It's a little hard yet, but it's working. It's developing.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I go to bed at 9 o'clock with her. I shut off the living room so she doesn't think, well, Dad's staying up, Dad's being blah, 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 blah. No, Dad wakes up the same time you do. I may lay in bed for 45 minutes while your little butt's getting ready. We only got one bathroom. She don't have her own personal bathroom.
I know. That's how it works.
I need to get her set up with like a little vanity with a mirror and stuff so she could do her makeup in her own room.
Yeah, like half of it, at least half of it over in her room.
Yeah, you can wake up and take a shower, and then after that, get the hell out of my bathroom. I need to use this space too, So I kind of lay there for about half hour, 45 minutes. But, it's just...
It's shower, shave, and get out.
Yeah. It's growing pains, and trying to figure life out with one bathroom and everything else, But she actually has her own room at my house, unlike at her previous spot, where she shared it with her siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that I could do for her, and I have been working on doing for her. And it really brings joy to me to have this opportunity in life.
She would love like a nook or a vanity that has a mirror in it and a place for like makeup and stuff. She would love that. I know she would.
Yeah, I just have to find the funds to go get it.
Yeah.
So
or who knows? You might find something out there that's resale or that's because sometimes you find little treasures that way.
Right.
New is always fun, but sometimes you find really good stuff. So,
No.
But other than that, man, this is a good episode. I'm glad that we got to bring these lessons to the people.
Yeah. And growing pains of having kids and being single fathers. Because it really bites sometimes. It just does.
It's great, but it bites sometimes.
Yeah. And now she wants to do cheerleading. I mean, I did not realize how much the school does not supply for cheerleaders.
Yeah.
They don't supply the pom-poms no more, nothing.
Oh,
I'm like, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
And then I go to the website. They're like, they're like $13 a piece. 13 for this pom-pom, 13 for this one. Because you need one of each school color.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, why can't the school buy this? And then I go to check out the shipping, $15. Are you serious? It costs just as much as another pom-pom to have them shipped out?
Some schools give you an opportunity to fundraise for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they got to buy like this body thing too that's got a turtleneck, long sleeves. It kind of looks like a swimsuit with long sleeves and a turtleneck neck. And
So weird.
It is, but that's what it looks like. You know, I don't really get it, but the website's down for that, so I don't even know how much that's going to cost me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, shit. Like, why do you gotta pick the expensive sport, kid? We already had knee pads and everything you need for volleyball. like, why? But you know,
It's gonna make her feel good about herself.
Yeah,
though.
you know, I gotta give her that opportunity to have those choices in life to venture out and do new things, because it was given to me as a kid, and where her previous situation was, she didn't get those choices.
Yeah.
She got told what to do. And when you get told what to do your whole life, and when you do finally go to college and you have all these choices, you make a lot of bad choices.
Just imagine what it feels like to her right now to have somebody who gives a shit about how she feels and what she wants to do,
Yeah.
rather than how it was very recently.
Yeah.
You are, that feeling has to be, like, I don't even know if I could describe how she's feeling because of how you're attending to her feelings.
Right.
You know, like it's great.
Yeah.
She's feeling so good inside.
She told me she wouldn't go back if it wasn't for her little brother and sister.
Yeah.
She goes, I miss them, Dad, but at the same time, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
And it's really gonna, and I feel here in probably over the next 6 months, that feeling's gonna diminish. She's still gonna love her little brother and sister, but at the same time, she's just gonna be like, because she's been excluded from like that whole little area for so long, because of other reasons that I really don't want to get into, because I don't like airing dirty laundry out there for everyone to hear it.
Well, and the
But yeah, she
meat
does
and
feel
potatoes
very
of it is
excluded.
she's a caring person. She really is. You know, she's a teenager, she's growing up, whatever, but she's a caring person. And so caring people get wrapped up in responsibilities that aren't theirs a lot.
Yep.
And unfortunately for those other kids, you know, she did care for them. She probably did help out with them a lot. You know, you've told a lot of things. But it's not her responsibility.
No.
It's really not. And that's, you're kind of freeing her to be herself.
Yeah.
At a very critical time, she needs to be able to be herself.
Yep. And she's already made new friends at school.
Yeah.
She's got their phone numbers, their little Snapchat accounts. Because I did go get her a phone, you know, 6 months, a year ago. I was very leery about her having Snapchat. But all these kids today have all this stuff. And I'm just looking at it like, do I really want to be that parent that says, no, you're not going to have this? No, I kind of want to be the cool parent that allows, like, there's got to be a respect level there, you know?
Well, it's proper monitoring, I think it's safe.
And, you know, and I told her that. I'm like, there's a respect level. I come into your room, we're around you, and you start hiding your phone, I'm taking your phone. She was like, what? I'm like, yeah, that tells you right there you're automatically trying to hide something.
Yeah.
And she loves chatting, like, with AI, with different chat AI things. And I'm like, get some real friends, kid. She goes, I got real friends. But they're going to bed and their parents make them put their phones up. I'm like, point exactly. So why don't you put your phone up?
Yeah, that's happening to you.
Like, haven't you seen like iRobot and stuff where AI takes over the world? How about your little horror movie that you liked, Megan or whatever, where the AI
I
doll
won't even do it.
tries taking over the whole house and protecting the kid and killing all the adults around the kid.
Super Furby.
You know, and it's like, what? Like you're feeding into AI. Like you're making it more intelligent.
That's a different It's a different podcast again.
But either way, you know, but I'm trying to explain things to her like that, you know, like, you know, why don't we move away from all this AI stuff and actually focus on real life stuff?
Real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, she didn't really have any friends when she came and hang out with me. But now she's starting to get there. And
Well,
it's
if
like,
you keep her from absolutely everything, then she's going to be that nerdy girl who doesn't get to have any of the cool stuff, you know?
yeah, I try
you
to
don't-
make sure she's got a bunch of cool shit.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you know, if she meets somebody new, hey, what's your snap? You know?
Right.
Well, I don't have one. Oh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't want, like, we want our kids to be safe. We want our kids to not have, I don't even know how to say that. We want our kids to be safe. But we also want our kids to be
Respectful.
respectful
Of
and
themselves.
accepted
Yep.
and not bullied and stuff like that. And I think there's different ways that we can do that. So I think what you're doing with monitoring the situation, it's good. It's an informed way of handling it.
Yeah.
I had an ex-girlfriend that would always tell me, your son's on Snapchat right now. And I'm like, okay, I kind of trust him on Snapchat more than I trust you on Snapchat. So, like, let's figure this
Right.
out. So, I don't know. I think you're doing a good job, Justin.
Yep.
I do. But
All right. Later.
I think that was great. Everybody have a good day. Thanks for listening. Go to whiteknuckling.com for new episodes and information about us. And we'll
And if you want to check out some cool resources about recovery, check out 217recovery.com.
I almost said that.
So, with that, later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the White Knuckling It podcast. For more details on the show and for more episodes, log on to whiteknucklingit.com.